All right, we're live. So, hi everyone. Welcome to, well, my show doesn't have a name, so just welcome to the stream. And today, going to be doing something different. Not actually going to be playing SpyParty, but going to be talking about SpyParty. And muting my voice on my own stream, because that's annoying. So, what I've got here is smash10101, which is probably binary for some letter. Posted a replay pack of himself with drawnonward, and they played 20 games. And if you look here, you can see who won each game. This isn't going to be like a normal cast. It's going to be a more of a feature sort of exploration. I'm mostly going to be exploring the features by using the replays. So it will be, what I'll probably do is watch each replay all the way through and kind of cast it, and then see what we can do with replays, see what we can look at, and how this changes game analysis is kind of what I want to do. So here, just going to click the first game. It's on Courtyard 2. I think it shows Spy first. Is that how it works? Yeah. So up here, looking up here, you can see it says drawnonward versus smash. That means drawnonward is the spy, smash is the sniper. And just going to be starting this game up. So let's see what happens. We'll be watching it from, what are the different commands? I think it's 1 and 3 gives you replay spy and sniper. Okay. So let's go. Spy is orange dress, and smash right off the bat. It looks like he's memorizing his statues because he makes the full circle around. And while doing that, he already has low-lit the ambassador and Toby, and he starts low-lighting the DAs. Drawn, not liking his previous conversation, comes in here right away to get a flirt, and gets it just in time too, because his seduction target wasn't going to stay. And smash, getting low lights, low-lit blue danger. So we'll have to go back. We're going to see exactly why he did that. And Drawn's still just playing kind of idle. BB, he misses yellow jacket, and I think something I'm going to be doing here is pausing on the second viewings to see what players are missing, what they should be getting, versus what they are successfully getting. Bondo gets a low light for that squeeze in front of the statue, and he shoots red plaid. I'm not sure why, but we're going to use replays to find out why. So you get this cool little minimize button, which brings up the timeline, and we can actually click on items in the timeline and skip right to those moments in the actual game, which is a really cool feature. So you can also, you can obviously play and pause, but you can also fast forward and rewind almost on like a level of frames. You can scrub through frames, so that's going to be a pretty cool feature for us to play around with. So let's start from the beginning. Let's take a look at some of the decisions that are made in this game, and try to figure out some of the reasons why the players might have made these decisions. So right from the start, drawnonward's character starts off in motion. He takes control right here when he hits the conversation, which, in my opinion, a really good choice, because it can be difficult to get your bearings, and even a player with as much experience as drawnonward benefits from waiting until his character stops. The downside is, and we're going to see the downside right away, he ends up in a conversation he just doesn't want to be in. So after he finishes his drink, he obviously leaves the conversation, and he's going to visit his seduction target. And you can see his camera already looking for where he should go, like where his seduction target is, in a better location than this one. He actually leaves while talking, something I wouldn't ordinarily do, but the sniper's laser is on the other side of the screen, and assuming that he was watching that he would have known it. It is safe at that moment to leave in the middle of an animation. So Drawn hits this conversation, gets a what Tobo would call a suboptimal flirt, 27%. And for the majority of this game, I believe Drawn is actually extremely idle. He does do the purloin, which I totally missed during the actual game. Like I said, these won't be like casts. They're more going to be gameplay analysis and talking about ways that the feature can be used for casting and gameplay analysis. Here he purloins, and Toby ditches him, and this is probably the reason why. So he banana breads after the purloin, presumably to distract from the guest list, but he actually gets a double distract here, which is actually really cool. So the purloin's going off. We can go to free cam. There we go. Whee! And Toby is offering a drink to Brown Dress. Drawn begins the banana bread hoping that Brown Dress will accept the drink. I believe she doesn't. I want to say that... Oh, she does. She is the one who's going to accept the drink. So she's going to trigger that. Banana bread goes off. She takes the guest list. And immediately Drawn Onward bugs right after the banana bread. So he actually used BB to distract from 2 hard tells. Really good. And then he actually idles here for a little while, I believe, and goes to statues. And he would have been on his last mission, but then Smash shot. So let's take a look at Smash's cam. And let's see why he chooses to shoot Red Plaid. But first, let's take a look at some of these lowlights. Here is where he highlights Red Plaid, so this is important. The character who gets shot gets highlighted very, very early on for, I believe, a statue rush. Now, I wouldn't personally highlight in this situation because he was able to see both statues, so it wasn't like this character was able to actually rush and swap the statue before he could pick it up. But if Smash is using a strategy in which he highlights the majority of people who visit statues, that it would be completely irrelevant. So this character gets a highlight for a statue rush. Let's skip forward a little because nothing really happens from the sniper view until here when he actually lowlights a character. So let's see why. Blue Danger doing a double bounce and a 180 off of both bounces. That's a really good reason to lowlight. Whoa, he bounced a lot. Let's see what happens here. He exits conversation, and we're gonna go to free cam so we can see this better. So he exits conversation, hits Toby, bounces off the Amba, and they just dance around Toby a few times. Definitely the kind of thing you'd lowlight for. A spy would most likely get stuck and do a full 360 or something. It would be much more obvious. The fact that the AI stays in motion, constantly changing his path and trying to get someplace, and then eventually gives up on that path. Definitely a worthy lowlight, and I think good spot on his part. So let's take a look here. Seduction Targets gets the highlight for a statue visit. So it does look like he's going to highlight for the majority of statue visits this game. Lowlights Damon. Lowlights somebody at the statues. Let's see why he does that. Alright, so his top suspect leaves. It was an accidental lowlight. He wanted to highlight her. And let's see why he shot. So he comes down here. Banana Bread is fired. The guest list has been taken. In his vicinity. Remember, Brown Dress just took it, and meanwhile he was standing there during the purloin. So here's the purloin. Purloin has just happened. This is right after a banana bread. It's actually 3 seconds after a banana bread. So he doesn't see the guest list taken because he hears banana bread, and he immediately starts. Here, I can actually switch to his camera. He immediately starts lowlighting people for the banana bread. So he's not actually looking at the purloin here. He's more concerned with who has done the banana bread. And instead of taking lowlights, he does highlights. He misses the purloin entirely, and by the time he notices the purloin, he shoots his top suspect. Actually, a really good choice because Drawn was finishing his last mission, so he had about 10. He had somewhere around 10 seconds before he had to shoot anyway. So he definitely read the game properly. And hi Mario 323 and hey Drawn. So I think that's what's going on in this game. Another thing that I think there are a few things I think are really cool about this feature, about replays, and some of the things I really like to do, and I think these are things that players can do to better themselves at the game. If you just had a spy round, the things you'll want to look at are your bug from the sniper perspective. So you hit number 1 on the numpad, or not numpad, but the what's it called? The alphanumeric keyboard. You hit 1, and then it'll switch you to replay sniper camera. You can always just tab to it. And this is the perspective of the game from the sniper view. So what you'll want to see, you want to go a few seconds before you actually bug, and you want to see if it's something the sniper should have been able to catch. And in this case, it doesn't look like it is. It looks like it's pretty invisible. So where does Drawn exactly hit it? Is it right? You actually, yeah, you cannot see that arm go. It looks like he bugs right here. So the whole point of the animation is actually being blocked by red dress, green dress, and the ambassador's bodies. From Smash's perspective, he rotated at just the wrong time to where the bug wasn't even visible at all. And if he had stayed still at this angle, he would have seen the bug, albeit just barely. So let's see, where is it? No, you can't even see it from this angle. It's a damn good bug. From here, you should be able to see it. Why am I just not seeing this thing? Oh, because I'm looking at the end where it... Why did it wait so long to award completion? Here's where the tell is. Ah, there it is. Okay, so starting there where it says begin plant, here's where you should actually see it, and it's already done. By the time he comes around, it's completely done. Yeah, so just a note, you'll want to click on the begin plant and not where it actually awards it, because it awards it at the end for conversation bugs. The other cool thing you want to do, especially if you're sniper, is yeah, the bug did animate, and I guess you're a mod, yeah. Congratulations, don't abuse it. The only thing you're allowed to abuse your mod powers for is banning 0 TKA from talking for 10 minutes, because that's tradition. That's a joke. Don't ban him from talking. All right, so one thing I like to do is hit the moment that the banana bread goes off. Let's see here, banana bread.
Banana.
And the exact moment that the banana bread goes off, the spy must be in a conversation. The spy cannot be moving. And I like to go to interactive sniper camera and like to rotate around and see all the lowlights that you should have been able to get and you may not get. And you can look at the timeline for the next handful of seconds afterwards, and you can see the activity here. He neutral lights blue dress, which his laser was already on blue dress when banana bread went off, so that cost him nothing. And he low lights top hat Buckswaggle. So these two characters were in his view right when the banana bread went off. Of course, Blue Danger is already at the statue and is already low lit. But who else could he have low lit? He could have low lit Yellow Danger. Now let's see where Yellow Danger goes after this banana bread.
Red.
He walks around quite a bit after, and you have a handful of seconds to determine if he maybe just escaped from this conversation and walked to the window. But that's a definite low light that he could have grabbed if he had a different angle, which is just poor luck at that point. But I think coming around, he probably could have spotted that. Let's see, where's the banana bread happens?
Banana.
Right here. Yeah, he should have been able to see this. And one thing I think that can probably speed up your recognition of who you should can you time yourself out? You can, if you want. Do you want me to time you out, Wodar? One thing I think that can speed up your recognition of who you need a low light for a banana bread, instead of hearing banana bread and immediately going. So I'm going to backtrack a little. So we'll hit the banana bread, and I'm going to pretend to play this and say low light, low light, low light. So
Banana
banana bread, low light, low light, low light, and then I'm not really sure was he in the conversation or not, and that's all you can get. The other way to do it, and I think a little bit better way to do it, is to, instead of being super active with your laser the second you hear banana bread, I want to get closer to that, is to instead just look around, stay in one spot or rotate around a little, but just look around with your eyes and try to find the people who are out of conversation. So you hear banana bread. Blue dress, hat, blue suit, yellow suit. And in your mind, you just think of these people and you say, these are the ones I need to remember. And then in the next 10 seconds, you can low light all of them. Like low light, low light, low light, low light, while the game is playing. And that way you'll be a lot faster at picking up those low lights if you look at them rather than trying to low light them one at a time. Just try to catch them all with your eye and low light them over the next few seconds. It sounds better in my head than I guess I describe it. And I don't think necessarily that Smash played this game really poorly. I'm just using replays to nitpick at every little thing that you can nitpick at, and say these are the ways that you can use replays to better your own play at the game. Oops, didn't mean to play. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about in the middle of this BB. Yeah, it just is a Wodar, you're right. It's just amazing BB timing. Look at this guy. Cool dance moves, bro. Right when the banana bread goes off, brown dress is she talking? I think she's talking during it. But banana bread goes off.
Banana bread.
And she almost immediately accepts a drink. I think the timing for this, for a blue banana bread, would have been possible. For a white, it probably wouldn't have been. And considering that she was talking during it, that would have implied that she had gotten a white banana bread if she was the spy. It's really difficult to cycle immediately to that action and grab a drink. Typically, if I hear a banana bread, I also want to look at where Toby is, and I want to see if a person is accepting a drink at the exact moment that banana bread goes off, because obviously you can't accept a drink and say banana bread at the same time in this game. So low lights that he could have gotten, he already had blue danger. He got blue dress and he got hat. He missed two low lights. He missed the yellow suit low light and possibly brown dress. That's debatable. It depends on the quality of player, or the just the experience of the player that you're playing, and whether you think that they would have practiced that sort of quick input, to grab a green banana bread and immediately hit E and left click very, very quickly to accept the drink. In this case with Drawn, Drawn's a very experienced player, and he's fairly attuned with clicking through actions pretty quickly. So yeah, I mean that's debatable. Well, not debatable, but I mean it's it's more of a subjective sort of thing. But just this is a really good banana bread from Drawn. I really like it. I liked how it covered two missions, both of them hard tells, the bug and the purloin, and it essentially he completed 3 missions at the cost of 2 lowlights, which should have been 3 or 4, but still very, very deadly banana bread there. And Smash he did read the game properly, I believe. He knew that purloin was done, banana bread had happened, and he had to have assumed that this character had finished inspect, because he had visited a statue, and possibly flirts, which are difficult to track. So that's the first game. That's kind of the rhythm I think I'm going to be doing on this. I hope people enjoy it. Yeah, you were Spy for that one, Drawn. I hope people enjoy what I'm doing. You can... Drawn's the most consistent player. Yeah, in terms of how often he plays, Drawn is certainly... I think he is the most consistent player SpyParty has ever had. If anybody has any questions, you can post them in here in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer them. So let's get straight to the next game. The next game, Smash, is Spy. Drawn Onward is Sniper. So we're going to watch this game all the way through and then talk about what happens in the game. And I have 20 replays from these guys. At the rate I'm going, we're probably only going to get through a handful of them, but maybe things will speed up. All right, Spy is White Danger. and that is Smash. Smash has yet to take control. He's taking control now, and grabbed his first flirt. Drawn, meanwhile, is actually being very active with the laser. He's rotating around constantly. He's memorized all of his statues. He does have an early highlight from statue visits, I believe. But yeah, I'm just not good at the whole live casting a game. I'm much better at, I think, analyzing it after. So replays are going to be so good for me. Ooh, lucky seduction target there. I think he interrupted a speaking animation, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look like Drawn saw that. Drawn grabs the low light from Yellow Danger. I want to go back and see why he did that. And what's the spy doing? He's still idling. He finally decides to leave. He has bugged. I missed the bug completely, so I'm going to go back, going to watch the bug in a bit. Don't need to catch everything that happens because it's a replay. I don't know if I've said that enough. This is a really cool feature. Does grab both of his inspects. And he's going to get a red swap. Let's see what happens here. Well, red swap was just out of view of the sniper. Let's see if Drawn swings around and notices the statue has changed. He does. But it doesn't look like he's ready to shoot for it just yet. Kind of bounces around on the spy a few times. You can see in the timeline somebody's going to get shot. It's the spy, and it's going to happen right now. Alright, so another win from Drawn Onward. I'm not keeping a counter here. Like I said, I don't think we're going to go through the whole series. And let's take a look at some of the decisions that are made in this game, and try to use replays to get a better perspective on them. So right off the bat, the game starts. Drawn's laser starts with the ambassador right in front of him. I always saw Drawn highlight the ambassador. He does. So he misclicks and gets a low light. I don't know how he low lit and neutral lit within the same second. It says he low lit and then neutral lit and then high lit. I wonder if that's a glitch. That's kind of cool. Also, you can see the briefcase just appearing in the Emba's hand. That's also kind of cool. So what Drawn's going to do is he's going to start the game off, and he's just going to rotate around in one direction. Usually, I think you want to find the ambassador and follow the ambassador. So the ambassador is walking to the left. Drawn's probably going to follow the ambassador around and memorize the statues while trying to keep an eye on bug. It's a really good way to start your game, and I think that's what's going to happen here. So let's watch this. So he gets these statues, but he's also keeping an eye on the ambassador. He wants to stay in this area and know if anybody tries to rush a bug. While he's doing that, he actually grabs a low light on the DA, who kind of just isn't too far away from his laser at the time, so he grabs that low light. Highlights Toby when he crosses his path, and I think either Drawn highlights for the statue visit or highlights possibly because he suspects a quick bug from green dress there. And then he comes around, grabs these statues, like memorizes them. Revolta was able to pick up before Drawn saw the statue, and so he gets a highlight as well for his statue rush. Green Dot's got a highlight there, and I want to see why she was highlight. So let's take a look. Comes around, green dress is at the window. She checks her watch. Maybe he highlights because he wants to look back in a few seconds and see if time was added. But I'm looking at the log, and he never normal lights green dots, so I'm not sure exactly what that was for. You'd think that if you want to highlight somebody for a possible time add, that you would simply highlight them briefly, check the time in about 5 or 6 seconds, and then normal light them if they did not add time. But in any case, that's okay. He does eventually low light Damon, and low lights the other double agent. But those usually aren't things you want to do right at the beginning of the game. Low lighting the cast is not a huge priority at the start of the game. What you want to do is you want to prevent the hard tells from being rushed. And I think Drawn did a fairly decent job on it this time. He did let slip a possible swap rush with Revolta, and he was on top of a possible rush from green plaid for, I think, bug. I want to say bug. But, you know, rushing the statue and getting a highlight for it, even if you manage to get the swap off, you're still top suspect for the majority of the game. So, allowing one mission to go and still catching somebody is an okay sacrifice, especially if you prevent anybody from bugging. So let's take a look at the bug. And what we do know is we know that the spy gets away with it. Because he used low lit immediately after and then normal lit. Not high lit again until later. So let's watch sniper camera and see where this happens. I want to go to interactive sniper really fast so we can get some idea of what's going on. Drawn's looking way over here. It's likely he's just going to be zoomed in when the bug happens. So here's the spy on the completely opposite end, and here's Drawn. Oh, that actually was a really nice bug. Drawn comes by just in time to presumably see the bug, and what we get is we get a wrong arm bug. I want to go back to Drawn's view. So Drawn comes by, and to do this, he right-clicks the bug before he begins walking. If he had started walking first, then his drink hand would have made the bug impossible. Although it doesn't look like he has a drink anymore. It's kind of strange. Oh, I guess he must have just finished it. So the wrong arm bug wasn't necessary, but it definitely looks nice. And there's the bug. You can just barely see his arm going out at this angle, but let's take a look at Drawn's angle. This is Drawn's angle. Oh, here we go. You can just barely see his right arm going out. It crosses in front of Damon, and by the time that Drawn can actually look at it, he's already out of the animation. Drawn low lights, and then changes his mind in normal lights. So it's a really nice bug. It just runs perfectly parallel. It's really difficult to spot. As for the rest of this game, let's take a look when he visits the statues. So where's the spy? Spy's on the other side of the map. This is from Drawn's perspective. Here he visits the statue, gets a highlight for it. Drawn stares at the statue for a little while, but he's going to miss the red swap, which happens at 1:31, so it happens right now. Is that actually visible to Drawn? Let's see. Here's the red test. And there it is. It's flickering right there. Drawn should have been able to see the red test, but it looks like he wasn't really looking at that. He was looking elsewhere. Oh, his eyes were elsewhere. And it looks like he would have just barely caught it. But he eventually does recover from that. Sees the statue has changed, goes around to the other side, sees it's changed, and then shoots the spy for it. There, he notices the statue's changed, comes back around, and says, "Where's the spy? I gotta shoot him." It's actually possible that he just saw that he missed the conversation here as well. That's what it looks like anyway. Kind of a weird entry to the conversation. Yeah, see that extra step that he takes? I can go to this camera. Free camera would probably be easier. You can actually see he enters conversation, kind of bumps around here. It looks really weird. And he actually takes an extra step even though he's in the conversation. So it's possible Drawn shot because of that, but I think it was most likely because of the swap. So that was the second game, does go to Drawn. And how do I want to say this? Drawn obviously is one of the most experienced players in the game. He actually is the second most experienced player in the entire game. And Smash has played, to Drawn's 11,000 games, Smash has played around 700 or 800, I believe, at this point. So I'm not really looking at these games as a high-level competitive cast. I want to just look at them and say, you know, these are the things that happened during the game, and here's how we're going to look at it from replay perspective. You can go through your own games the way that I'm going through these, and I encourage everybody to, and say these are the things I missed, these are the things I could have done better. Was that bug visible? Should that swap have been visible? When should I have seen these? Could I have saved some time at the beginning of the game and low lit people later, and stuff like that. So next game, is Drawn Onward is Spy, Smash is Sniper. So game starts, he looks at the statues. Amba's completely clear, nobody could have rushed that bug. So he gets his statues memorized, and now he can begin low lighting cast.
Banana bread.
Ooh, really early banana bread. And I paused just to note, because I'm bad at this, that the spy is purple dress. So gets a few low lights over there. I think early banana bread probably not the smartest choice, because you typically get a lot of low lights from BB rushes. So we'll see if that pays off later. Grabs another flirt. Drawn's at 83% on flirts now. He only needs one more flirt. He leaves, seduction target leaves. I really like when the seduction target, didn't mean to pause, when the seduction target also exits the conversation, because it's unfortunate when you go back to your seduction target back to the same exact conversation. It's always ideal to go back to go to a different conversation. Now, Smash should have seen that Drawn Onward broke the animation there at statues, and I think, considering BB is already fired, considering that he had inspected, he should be a top suspect, and he should even be considering shooting him right now, unless he wants to bait a hard tell. It looks like this is, no, not the hard tell, he just grabs a drink, does not purloin. Drawn already finished with his seductions, just needs to get this bug in, and he's a little bit too far away to bug, so he has to do a walking bug away. And he wins by finishing his time. He even gulps his drink at the statue. Alright, so let's take a look at this game. Let's take a look at the things that could have been done, weren't done, and different choices the players made. Things that I missed also, and a really cool feature that I totally ignore is whenever a green time ad happens, the clock actually splits for that duration. So you get the sniper clock, which will be lower than the spy clock and moving slower, and you get the spy clock, which is the actual time of the game, and that the spy clock is actually the timestamps for all of the events on the time log. So yeah, let's take a look. The game starts. Drawn's over here. This game, he actually takes control. Yeah, he takes control after he arrives at the spot. His character stops, he takes control, and he adds time, and moves fairly quickly away. I think ideally he would have added time and left right away. Like right now, he should have walked away if he wanted to leave early. If you don't want to be seen at the window and you don't want the sniper to see you, check the time. But in any case, he waits until his seduction target stops moving and comes in for a 51% flirt. All good, all good. And then he hits the banana bread. Kind of a weird choice, I think, from Drawn to banana bread here, because early on in the game, that's kind of a mission you want to save for later. What this is going to do is it's going to reduce the cognitive load quite a bit for the sniper, because grabbing these low lights early on is worse than grabbing them later. You low light brown dress, you low light Revolta, you low light the guy with the red tie and the orange dress. That's 4 people you don't have to watch, and you don't have to watch them as of the 3-minute and 31-second mark. 4 less people to watch the entire game. That's actually a big sacrifice for very little gain, because Drawn doesn't do anything else. Maybe he wants to distract from the time ad, but he already got away with it cleanly, and it wasn't necessary for him to do that. In any case, let's take a look at the banana bread, and let's see what lowlights could have been gotten versus the ones that were. So interactive sniper cam. Suspected double agent sniper knows who that is, so that's okay. Brown dress out of conversation, and if we go over to his view, which is right about here, it's right here. I could click the 1 button. Brown dress is out of conversation during it. That's a low light. You've got a low light on Revolta, red tie, and orange dress. That's 4 low lights. So how many does he get? He takes that time to low light the DA. He was already low lighting the DA when the banana bread went off, so it wasn't like that was a conscious choice to low light the DA after banana bread. Low lights general, I think that's kind of interesting. We'll take a look at that decision later. Accidentally highlights them, but then changes his mind and low lights them. Note that he makes a mistake and fails to low light red tie. That's a character that he should have had low lit, but small misclick cost him a low light. Comes around here, highlights brown dress, and then highlights red tie. Two really big errors on that banana bread. Especially if we just look at it from his perspective. These are guaranteed lowlights that he should have been able to pick up. And again, I'm not, I'm not saying these things to bash on him as a player, but to rather say that this is what you want to look at with this is how in depth you can go with your replays, and these are the things you can look at, and hopefully using these to correct any mistakes you make, not making them in the future. Banana bread goes off, immediately starts low lighting. I think he low lights General because General talks soon after the banana bread. Note that General was not talking during the banana bread, so let's go back there. So banana bread goes off, General is sipping his drink, and then almost immediately starts talking. Typically players will, what that would have required is beginning a sip drink, greening the banana bread, and then left clicking almost immediately after you get the green. It's actually a fair bit of micro involved. It's kind of difficult, not hugely difficult, but something that you can probably low light for. Anybody who talks immediately after a BB, it's something that kind of a debatable thing whether you should low light, but I think it's a good choice in this case. Comes around, gets one low light, misclicks the other, so he's going to lose that low light for the rest of the game, and you can see it ends up this character's a highlight the rest of the game. And over here sees brown dress. She could have BB split to the statues as far as he was concerned, but at the very start brown dress was in his view at the statues when the banana bread went off, and he should have noticed that. Also worth noting is that Revolta is in his view the entire time, and he should have picked up that low light as well. And if he had simply, instead of going around low lighting them all by hand, if he had simply glanced around, banana bread goes off, you just look up, brown dress, red tie, Revolta. Those are three lowlights. You've got them. You don't need to low light them right now. Come around, low light orange dress. That's all the lowlights. Now you go and you pick up your brown dress low light, your Revolta low light, and your whoever the other one was, right? Red tie. And you pick up those three lowlights. He could have gotten all four there. I do believe he could have gotten all four there. But unfortunately he doesn't, and that does cost him. He ends up having 2 extra highlights the rest of the game. If he did not have those highlights, if he had low lit them there, he would have just had the spy and blue suit highlight the game, and that's a huge difference.
Banana bread.
So that goes off. From there, it's a pretty standard game. Let's see where the hard tell was. That's right, you can't. Hard tell was the bug. Now, having only 2 highlights, they're both in the same conversation. Let's see, are they in the conversation when he does the bug? Yeah, they are, because the ambassador comes over here. But here, that I want to say again that those not grabbing those 2 lowlights, that misclick and that snap decision to not lowlight her, ends up costing him in the game, because he'd have 2 lowlights or 2 highlights here. If he had low lit those 2, he'd have 2 highlights here. Right next to the ambassador, and that's all you'd have to watch is those 3 characters, because the game is won in this area right here. But instead, his attention is divided between a person at the statues, a highlight in this conversation, and his attention is so thin that he's not going to be able to see this bug. So you can see how just one or 2 really small errors, really quick decisions, kind of snowball into losing the game. And I do think if he had been faster and the rest of the game had played out about the same, then he might have been able to catch that bug. From a different angle, the bug is totally visible. But at this moment, he's watching these 2 characters. The 2 characters he shouldn't be watching. So let's take a look at if if he wanted to catch the bug, if he was just watching this area where the only 2 highlights he should have are, and then he sees this, that's a guaranteed shot. So I do think ultimately the early bug was, or the early banana bread was, should have been more damaging, and it should have been a worse choice than it ended up being. How is the spy? Is it a bug that when it says that it's you versus nobody? I don't know exactly what you're talking about, Woodar. But let's continue to the next game. I think that was the third, yeah, spy win. You can already see who's going to win these games, but that's not really the point. Like I said, I'm terrible at shoutcasting. I'm just doing in-game analysis. I'm going to repeat that again and again until I stop hating myself for not being good at shoutcasting. So we got blue dress as the spy. Smash this time is blue dress the spy, and drawn onward is the sniper. So he hasn't taken control yet. I think a smart move, especially because he was bombarded, 3 or 4 times. He just started in a very congested area, takes control after he arrives at a different location. And Drawn doing the standard, rotating around, picking up his cast highlights, and memorizing those statues. Ambassador, kind of in a bad spot for the spy right now. There's really nothing he can do regarding bug. He does get a green purloin, and he escapes from it. So we'll see if Drawn tracks the purloin or not. Does pick up a highlight. Purloin goes off. Drawn catches it almost immediately. Actually sees the animation and lowlights general for it. And then he normalights the people who he doesn't think are involved. Gets a few lowlights from it. Drawn's just in really good shape this game. Lowlights. I'm not sure if he lowlights for briefcase or if he decides that that character should not have could not have purloined. Does pick up a quick lowlight at the statues. All in all, it's a decent banana bread, but Drawn already had so much information that he's now reduced the cast down to just a handful of characters, 2 highlights, and 3 normal lights. So only 5 people left to watch. Soon, Spy Blue Dress is going to leave that conversation. I really like watching the replays from the sniper perspective. I think it's much more interesting, and replays make it really cool that we can toggle back and forth. So I'm kind of just looking at these games with my fingers on the numbers 1 and 3. Picks up another flirt. Drawn's convinced enough, and he shoots. Fairly textbook game, and I think Drawn, reacted just right to what he should have. Let's see what the questions here are. Oh, hey Checker. Came in to talk about things that are happening the next patch. So let's take a look at we got some details from Drawn. Smash isn't too briefcase savvy, so he's liberal. Okay, we'll talk about that. Let's take a look at the start of the game here from spy perspective. And again, one thing I think would be a cool feature is if the game, said kept the spy interface up and said, press left mouse click to take control, and then disappeared when they actually did it. Or maybe if the triangle above the spy was maybe hollow, like a hollow triangle, and then as soon as they take control it becomes filled, or something to indicate that they take control at an exact moment. But again, I do think a really smart decision. He takes the control right here, versus taking control right away and then bouncing poorly a few times and getting instantly shot by Drawn, who, with the experience that he has, he can spot somebody doing a 360 even at the start of the game. So again, taking control after he arrives after he stops. Your other option is you can wait until you're out of the congested area and take control, and then go where you want to go, and without fear of people running into you. So those are your options. Drawn picks up his cast lowlights. Let's see, where are we? Memorizes those statues, picks up his cast lowlights. He's kind of slipping on the Ambassador this round. He's racing around to catch him, but he does get lucky. The Ambassador was never around any characters, and Drawn knows that. So he's memorized his statues. He's got his cast highlights and lowlights. He's ready to start the game here. Just a textbook opener from both players there. And that was on the list, and I decided not to do it, but I'll do it. I do think it would be a really cool thing to have. Let's see. So Wodar's asking about having a mute button in replays. Kind of might be a cool idea. So let's see. General gets a highlight. Let's see why. General gets a highlight, presumably for pathing near the ambassador, or maybe it's just because everybody else is, settling down and General is still walking. I'm not sure. But then again, Drawn likes to highlight people who go to the windows, and maybe he's really just trying to track time ads. Okay, all right. So let's skip. Let's go here. Doesn't purloin, but accepts a drink. I mean, this isn't the spy, but Drawn does low light for this. So let's see what Drawn sees and why he decides to low light. All right, Blondo, I call him Blondo, starts talking, accepts a drink while talking, and then walks away. Drawn low lights. That's kind of an interesting choice. I think it was just him gauging whether he thought his opponent would accept a drink so early, or maybe if he would break the drink-taking animation slightly and exit the conversation. I don't think that's probably a player decision. Drawn did tell me that he knows that his opponent is a newer player, and he's very liberal with his briefcase low lights. So anytime somebody deals with the briefcase, Drawn low lights them. Here he low lights somebody for an instant sip upon entering the conversation. You can watch that happen here. We'll go to Freak because that'll be cool to watch. This is difficult micro to pull off as Spy. You have to immediately enter the conversation, immediately hit E and left click. It's actually tricky because if you don't do it quickly, your character will immediately begin folding their arms or put their hand behind their back. And if you do it too slowly, you'll break that animation, which is a hard tell. So even just attempting it and failing slightly can get you shot. So Drawn does low light for that, which I think is a good decision. Not enough players are actually doing it to not low light for it. And of course here you have the purloin. The purloin's actually pretty interesting. Drawn notices that somebody rejects, and then she immediately leaves. She walks away. So Drawn says, well, I'm going to keep track of that, and he highlights for it. Sees the guest list get taken, low lights General, and at this point Drawn's probably 99% sure. So let's take a look at the banana bread.
Banana bread.
Here's the banana bread. I'll do what I really like to do, and let's take a look at the low lights Drawn should have versus the ones he gets. Obviously he already has this low light, that's dots, so he's not going to do that. Needs to pick up this low light, and if Brown Dress accepts a drink in the next second, he could have low lit her. But she doesn't, she rejects. Now you can't reject a drink at the same time as a banana bread, but you can wait for Toby to time out and time your banana bread for then. In any case, I think both of those are a little bit too subtle for anybody to really catch accurately, and Drawn is on just the wrong side of the map to see it, which is not something he could help. However, he does play this right, picks up his low light, and gets all the information he could from there. It's just unfortunate at this point that Smash got such a good banana bread with only... Oh, my voice is cracking. He gets such a good banana bread with only 2 people have conversation, but he's already lost the game as of the purloin. And Drawn is sure enough when he enters a conversation. Oh, where is he? Blue dress over here. Enters a conversation and starts talking 3 seconds later. So yeah, pretty typical game if they catch you purloining very early on. Oh, maybe I will, Wodar. Maybe I will. Okay, so what game was that? I think we've done 4. Let's do this one. Here, Drawn Onward is Spy. Smash is Sniper. Let's take a look. Spy is that Bondo? Spy is Bondo. There he is in the back, and we're just going to watch the game and see what happens. Drawn begins, takes control after he hits the conversation, I believe, anyway. Again, Always a good choice if you're not trying to do some Veery tactics. There are definitely times when you want to take control early, especially if you want to rush something. In this case, Drawn rushes Purloin. Does he rush Purloin? I'm gonna go back. I know he rejects the drink. He definitely rushes the Purloin, and he immediately gets out of there. Now here's a banana bread rush that's much more effective. Banana bread goes off, guest list is taken, so he uses it to cover him. Gets shot. I don't think Drawn made terrible decisions that game. I do think the banana bread was a smart move after bailing on the Purloin, but Smash was just on top of it this game. So take a look at the, let's go spy cam. Drawn hits the conversation, then takes control. Requests drink from the waiter. So I think this game Drawn was already had in his mind that what he wanted to do was rush Purloin. I think he probably started the game said, I'm going to rush Purloin this game. The downside with this plan is that Toby was busy very quickly. So he hits the conversation here. Toby immediately starts offering a drink to, I'm going to switch to interactive spy camera, starts offering a drink over here to Buckswaggle. And by the time that Drawn requests the drink, Toby is going to be delayed by 3 or 4 seconds. So by the time Toby gets here, the Purloin rush is a bit weaker than it could have been. But Drawn goes through with it anyway. I think not necessarily the worst decision, but it definitely doesn't play out for him because Smash is paying attention. He notices the Purloin gone, said, "Oh, that guy just left," and he gets shot right away. There is something cool I can talk about here, though. Let's go back to interactive spy camera. This is what Drawn sees. So let's go back to the banana bread. So banana bread happens here. Now there are basically 2 things that can happen when banana bread goes off. Either the sniper immediately goes around and just immediately says, "Oh, I'm gonna grab my lowlights." And in this case, he would have gotten 1. That's not what's important here, though. As the sniper will do one of 2 things. They'll either immediately start grabbing their lowlights or looking around the party. That's what you do after a banana bread. Or if they're sure they're going to shoot, their laser's just immediately going to come to you and they're going to shoot. If you see the laser bouncing around from character to character to character, you know you're most likely in the clear for the next 10 seconds. If banana bread was your last mission, the sniper commits to taking those lowlights, or they commit to shooting you right away. And that's what you're going to see here. The laser after banana bread is not going to bounce around very much. It's just going to go straight to Vondo's head. So you can kind of predict whether you're going to get shot or whether the sniper is grabbing their lowlights or not. Typically, they won't grab 3 lowlights and then shoot you. They have already made up their mind to shoot you. And that's all there is to say about that game. Well played by Smash. He definitely catches the rush and is able to end the game. Whoa, kind of cool. Oh, that's a bug. Look at that. Maybe it's not a bug. Maybe I'm just holding escape. Yeah, I'm just holding escape. That's not good. All right, so what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Drawn Smash. So this one. Again, if anybody has any questions about what I'm doing, if anybody thinks I could do this a little bit better, you can tell me right now, and I'll do it better right now. Just type in here in the chat, and I will do my best to glance here every once in a while and answer any questions that you have. So next game is Smash is the spy, Drawn Onward is the sniper, and let's see, where is he? He's yellow suit. So Smash is yellow suit, Drawn is the sniper. I like to think that the sniper is not wearing a suit. He's just like sitting out there naked in the cold. He didn't even get dressed. He's just wearing his like camouflage pajama pants, which I just had to throw mine in the hamper because they were really dirty, but they're really comfortable. All right, does he grab the bug here? Not really a good position to bug. Drawn's really watching it here. So he's not able to bug. And it looks like he's just going to take a drink, not Purloin. just playing very idly at the start here. The Amba actually comes back to him, but Amba's going to leave before he decides to bug. Meanwhile, Drawn's got one highlight with orange dress, and likely the reason that he's sitting in that area so long, well, I'll go back to it, is because both the Ambassador, Toby, and his top suspect were all in the same area. Not much reason to look elsewhere for that moment. And it just so happens that the spy is sitting there too, which is unfortunate for Smash.
Banana bread.
Banana bread goes off, Drawn grabs a low light, misclicks a little, highlights somebody for talking, highlights somebody for leaving, and grabs a few low lights. It looks like Drawn's pretty sure that was a real banana bread, so he marked a few people for not being with the DA. Just really idle play by Smash here. He's got one mission done. Goes to get another flirt in, but his seduction target does leave. Drawn's really tightly watching Purloin and Bug here. He has normal lit orange dress, so she's no longer his top suspect. Spy does a 360. Drawn does miss it. It was right in front of him, but he does miss it. Spy. Oh, Drawn shoots. Shoots the wrong person. He shoots apparently his top suspect. So let's take a look at this game. Let's try to see why he shot the wrong person, and any choices that could have been made differently this game. Just reading the chat, sorry. Yeah, Smash's sniping in that past game was really good with catching the early Purloin. Yeah, I'd be down to cast games with anybody. If anybody just send me a PM or something and let me know what times are good for you, and we'll organize something. But let's take a look at this game. So the game starts. Another game where I believe he's gonna... Oh, he takes control right here, but then this is a relatively safe place to take control. Whereas a few seconds ago, probably not so much. With a lot of people moving, you don't want to take control right away. You want to make sure you get your bearings. There's 5 people in this area, and at any moment you could path poorly. You don't know what the AI are going to do at the start of the game. But he waits. It's less congested here. He takes control, and he goes in to get his first flirt. So that's another way you can do it. You can wait a little while, get your bearings, and take control and go where you want to go. Grabs an early flirt, and I think that was a really good move. Especially because we know that Drawn is not camping flirt right now. He's not matching people up. What he's doing is grabbing his early cast low lights. He's checking the statues, making sure Amba is not compromised and making sure Toby is not compromised. So it's a good time to flirt. It's a good time to take control early and grab that early flirt. Flirt first is one of the very favorite things to do, and it's something that definitely is a valuable tool to do on such a visible map like this one. So that's early choices that were made. Let's take a look at why Drawn's first suspect, why Orange Dress is such a high suspect, because I think this costs Drawn quite a bit in this game. So let's go back a bit. What I want to do, I want to go back to the beginning here, and I want to see if Drawn memorizes all the statues before he highlights Orange Dress. So he sees these, that's 1-1, highlights the Amba, comes around, Orange Dress is here. Sees the other statues, 1-3. So Drawn knows the statues, 1-1, 1-3. So when Amba comes over, or when Orange Dress comes over here and hits this statue, she should not become a top suspect unless she swaps the statue, which she's not the spy, so she doesn't swap it. And yet he does highlight her, so she's now very high suspect. We know not much happens here for the spy, but the sniper game is actually fairly interesting here. With I want to see where this begins. Orange Dress comes over here into this conversation, and Orange Dress sits in this conversation. And Drawn pretty much never leaves this area, and he doesn't have much reason to. And the reason is because, well, what I want to do, I'm not yet used to these controls. I want to switch to free cam. You've got the Ambo over here. You've got Toby over. I don't know if you can see my mouse clicker. I hope you can, but you've got the Ambo over here. at window. You've got Toby in this area, and you've got Orange Dress here. And they're going to be in this area for the next handful, like next 20 or 30 seconds. And Drawn, apparently very suspicious of Orange Dress, and he definitely doesn't want to compromise these two characters. He stays in this area for so long, he definitely has to feel like he's tunneling. Because even if the spy isn't here, Drawn's probably not paying as much attention to the rest of the game. And you'll see in the next handful of seconds that Drawn will check the statues, but that's all he's really interested in. What he wants to do is he wants to make sure Purloin and Amba are not compromised, and his top suspect is sitting right there where it would all happen. Now, if Smash might even be paying attention to this because the laser is hovering over them a little bit more than any of the other guests. So maybe this is why Smash plays so idly. Drawn does make good decisions here, though. Even though he's, camping this area pretty heavily, he still, highlights red plaid. So he's not completely devoted to this, but it is costing him some more of his cognitive load. Not always something that you can help, and I don't think Drawn could help it in this case. This BB, actually, really nice BB by Smash. Just very pretty timing. One low light is all you're going to get. Drawn does decide to low light one character out of conversation, and eventually highlights her for talking during the BB. Maybe she had just entered conversation and immediately started talking, but I don't think that's the case. No, she's been there a while. No, in my opinion, not really a great reason to highlight her. And we know that she's the one who's going to get shot, so it's going to cost him. So he highlights her. But the rest of the decisions made here are kind of weird, because he decides this is a real banana bread. Low lights, yellow danger or white danger, yellow danger. So low lights him. He'll come around. Drawn is going to low light these two as well, if I recall. Highlights her for leaving. Possible BB split. There's a bit of a delayed split, but the spy still likes to be mobile after a BB. So good highlight there, I think. But Drawn, it's just a weird decision. I'd love to know what he's thinking here when he low lights this character, highlights her, and low lights these two. He's definitely thinking this is a fake banana bread, and yet his top suspect becomes somebody who would have faked the banana bread in that situation. So it is kind of a weird choice there. And let's see how this game ends. This game ends with Drawn shooting the wrong person. Let's see why he shoots the wrong person. So she comes by, she bumps the Amba a little bit, but he normal lights her. Oh wow, that is really funky. Okay, I do not disagree with Drawn's decision to shoot her. What happens here? Let's go to number 5. There we go. What happens here? And you can actually zoom all the way out. It's pretty nice. I really like free cam. It's a really cool feature, really cool addition to this. I think one thing the game could have that would be cool, instead of just making me, drag to play in slow motion or to speed up a game, I'd like play in 2 times or play in 0.5 speed. I think those would be cool features as well. But there's a thread for that, and I'll make some posts. But here, she actually stops entirely before deciding where she wants to go, and she does want to go into this conversation. That's pretty clear from the start. Keep in mind, this is AI, and this is very odd behavior for an AI. So she comes over here. Looks like she wanted to take that spot. Her spot is taken. I think she's recalculating a path. Maybe the ambassador and Buckswaggle are interfering with that as well, because she stops dead in her tracks, just thinks about it, and then goes around. And Drawn shoots. I think not the worst decision to shoot for something that's most likely player, but at this point of the game, no hard tells have been done. Drawn had seen to the fact that no hard tells have been done. And we're going to talk about kind of a metagaming sort of situation here, but Drawn should have been able to calculate this and say, I need to highlight this person, not shoot them, highlight them, and watch, because they're right next to the Amba. He could try to bait a bug there. He could try to wait for a Purloin or a Swap. Drawn's been on top of Swap. He's been on top of Purloin. He's been on top of Bug this game. So there's no reason to shoot. He knows these missions aren't done. Shooting here is very impulsive, and the only reason you'd want to shoot extremely impulsively is if you want to send a message to your opponent. Like, if you've been losing a handful of games and you want your opponent to feel kind of broken for just 1 minute, you shoot them right away for something really small they did, and hopefully that, you know, makes them play a little bit slower in the next few games. But Drawn's, you know, been in the lead this set. He doesn't need to send a message. He can sit, he can play it calmly, he can wait. And I think that's the big decision he makes here that is, you know, inevitably wrong. Because there's no indication that the game was over. So let's, where was that? That was a Sniper loss. Smash with Spy, and now we've got Drawn Onward is Spy, and Smash is Sniper here. So we've got White Danger is the Spy. Comes in, gets an early flirt. Now, that's not the best flirt, especially when it's an early game scenario. I do recommend... Oh god, this is going to be a short game. Or not. That bug didn't even take, but it should have been very obvious to Drawn. I guess he was looking elsewhere. So we'll try to figure out where he was looking after when we go back. But he does recover from that bug, picks up a second flirt, and like I said, I think when you want to get an early flirt, usually you want to just go straight in and get up close. Maybe, and I'll have to go back, maybe he took control after he'd entered the conversation, so he just took what he could get. But if he had taken control before, he probably could have gotten closer for it. Picks up his last flirt. Flirt is the most time-costly mission. It took him 1 minute to do it, but it's hard to gauge whether I think Smash is ahead or behind in this game. Joins his seduction target again at statues. Oh, I mean, Drawn does. Joins his target again at statues, but then Smash shoots. So I had my names mixed up. I did the Tobo thing, but Drawn's bug was terrible this game. So let's take a look at some of the things that happen here. Let's go to replay Spy. Game starts. Drawn takes control after he arrives, so he is stuck with this flirt. If he had taken control before, I have no doubt he would have gotten a little bit closer. Still 32%. I think even at the closest range, I think you get 32%. So at this range, he would have gotten maybe 50%. So it doesn't really impact the game significantly. Here you've got Sniper rotating around, and then Drawn's going to do just an absolutely horrible bug. And let's take a look at the thought process that goes into this bug. This is wonderful. All right, so here's what Drawn wants to do, and I think I can have some fun with this and maybe get some people sick. We'll go in. We're going to pretend to be in this game. We're just sitting here. We're looking around like, hey, I could bug the ambassador right now. Like, I'm going to do that. Like, go through, and I'm going to bug the ambassador and slide through these people, and that's what he wants to do. But Drawn totally fails to do that because there's just not enough space to slide through there. So he tries to bug him, tries to go through. It just totally botches it. He's never even close enough to the Amba to bug. It's absolutely hilarious. I mean, I get what he was trying to do. This also isn't a very good opportunity to do it because it was just in pure view of the Sniper. I mean, I guess he's around here, but he's gonna come back around. Anyway, Drawn does recover from it though, which is kind of nice. He makes a 360, just says, or he does a 180, just says screw it, goes straight to the window and looks at his watch. Just playing it cool. It's more of a funny moment than a great analysis on a moment, and I do want to see why she gets shot. So let's take a look at a few moments. And I want to see the early game play here from Sniper that I ignored at the beginning. So here the game starts. Ugh, that 360 bug is so irritating. That one, where it's a 1/10 of a second the sniper does a full 360. So let's go back to the start. He sees the statues. I don't think he ever gets a good view of that second statue. So this could cost him. Only for a brief second. He might have seen it. So that's a 3-3. Comes around here. And a 2-3. I think what Smash... This is Smash, right? I think what Smash could have done better and what he should have done at the start of the game starts. I'm going to play Sniper this game. Game starts and I'm sitting right where Smash is. Memorizes the statues, 3-3, and then he should go around this way. Now, why should he travel around, clockwise? Why should he travel clockwise instead of counterclockwise? Well, the reason is because you want to track as much as you can during that time. You want to make the most use of the time you're spending going around to memorize the statues. And the way you do that here is you look at where the important NPCs are. You've got the general here, you've got Toby over here. And what you want to do is you want to keep them in your view as much as possible. So you come around, the ambassador goes this way. He goes to the left. So you go around to the left. You follow the ambassador. Now you've got the ambassador, Toby, and the statues all in your sight. You get it all taken care of. By going the other way around, you sacrifice both of those missions just to view the statues. And it sounds really minor, but if you're up against a player who might rush a mission, that rush could happen during that one moment that you swing around. And you want to minimize the stuff that you miss while you're swinging around on this map. So that's kind of the first. It's a very small mistake, a very small error, but I think it's one thing that players should be doing if they're trying to memorize statues early. Try to make use of that time going around. So let's see what happens here. I do like that he waits to lowlight his cast until the party settles down. I think that's a good idea. Gets his lowlights on the Amba and Toby. That's purely preference. You can highlight them or lowlight them, whatever you like. And let's skip to where Blue Dress gets highlight, because this is going to be a big moment. So I want to stop, assuming she got highlight for movement. Let's watch from his view. Blue Dress is over here on the left side. She rejects a drink. So possible green purloin. Comes around here. Goes to the window. I think she's going for briefcase. Yeah, she goes for briefcase. She picks it up. Heads back to Ambassador. Gives him the briefcase. It's should be very visible to Smash that she does not bug there. And she does kind of an odd path, and that's where she gets her highlight. I don't know if that was the game-ending moment. Let's try to see why she did that. If you can find out why the AI do the things that they do, free camera would probably be ideal. Then you can start to avoid, making mistakes like this. So here's what happens. She comes in, hands the ambassador her briefcase, or his briefcase. And we know that Blue Dress wants to end up in this conversation. So right now she's standing there pausing. She's choosing her new location and the path she'll take. She comes by here. She goes forward very briefly, makes a quick 180, and then comes around. But something else interesting happens here. Note that she turns around, blocking Yellow Danger. Yellow Danger, to get to his location, now has to step through the center of a CC. And I think those two events are probably related. She wanted to get to a certain path. She had to make a 180 to get there. Her other option would have been to walk all the way around. The AI prefer the shorter path. So what she wants to do is she wants to just make a 180 directly from the ambassador and come right over here. Instead, she walks forward about a step. It's really difficult for a player to walk forward for like half a step and then make an immediate 180 and a perfect turn. Especially with another character like right on their tail, because that could have been a terrible collide for a player. Again, I'm not really sure that's something that I would have high-lit for or low-lit for, but the better option, I guess, if you're unsure, is to highlight, although he ends up shooting her, so let's see if she does something else weird. From what I can tell, she just stands there the rest of the game. And then Smash decides to shoot her, so let's see if she does anything else to warrant being shot. And I can't really say why he shoots there. Maybe he just thought about it more and more and just decided that probably is the spy. Uh, but yeah, this was one of those cases where, like Drawn's case before, it's just difficult to say whether it's a spy or a sniper. I think in this event, Smash having let the ambassador and Toby out of his sight, well, Toby being, obviously not very important because the guest list is still there. I think Smash was on top of the statues, but he did let the ambassador out of his sight enough times for the ambassador to get bugged. Maybe he suspected bug was done. I think it was still a little bit too early in the game for him to shoot, but you can't think of everything at once. The stream didn't suddenly die, did it? It's still up, right? Please tell me the stream is still live. Okay, we are. I don't know. That's good. Okay, let's see. I don't know which games that one was. Drawn was Spy. I think that was this one. Let's take a look. Yeah, that was this one. So it would be this one is next. And we've got Smash is Spy, Drawn is Sniper. Oops. Spy is Revolta. Looks like he rushes a bug. He does. He gets an early bug rush. It was a nice bug rush, and makes kind of an interesting decision. He stays there next to the ambassador. He won't be there next to the ambassador very long because he'll invade his space. But he doesn't pick up a highlight. So really good move by Smash there. This is Smash's Spy. And I want to look at that decision making there. It was really interesting. But, ooh, that's painful. Picks up a highlight for joining his seduction target window. Doesn't even get the flirt off, and that's something I can talk about as well. But Drawn just working on tracking his hard tells. Note that it's pointless for him to continue tracking the ambassador. Bug is done, but Drawn doesn't know it's done. It's going to continue to hurt him. Now the ambassador is never a mission you can stop tracking. Once you know you can stop tracking the ambassador, you just shoot the spy. So it's always a mission you've got to be watching if it's active. And it's definitely a costly mission to watch. Now that was, I think, his second flirt. Yeah, he's at 51%. So maybe that was his first flirt. It was his second attempt, but first successful flirt. Immediately rejoins his seduction target, stands really close to the ambassador. Maybe not the best decision right now. Oh, Drawn's sitting right on that spot. The camera just goes crazy. And if Drawn remembers him being with that seduction target, this should be a fairly short game. Yeah, that's the one thing that replays won't do is they won't put you in the mind of your opponent. The best you can do is make assessments based on what they look at and how they behave. I mean, the only solution would be to stick something in somebody's brain, and I don't think any of us are so in love with SpyParty that we'd sign up for that. Rejects the drink. Was that a purloin? I don't think so. No, it's not pending. Drawn just rotating around, keeping tabs on it. He's finished with his seduction, but I think by now the damage is already done. He's been in the same conversation twice. He's been next to the same character 3 times, 4 times now. And he's just got nothing else done. He's going to finish in specs and he needs to swap. Overtime will trigger, and Drawn's just on top of this. So he does get the green swap. So we won't get overtime. But countdown pending. Drawn knows it's either a time add or a green swap. And it doesn't look like he's even going to wait for it. Oh, he is. No, he doesn't wait for the overtime. That's interesting. Okay, so this is a good set. I think a lot of really interesting decisions are being made in this set, and really cool things to talk about overall. Even if it's not, the single most high-level set of all time. I do think Smash is playing pretty well, especially against a player who is as experienced, like such a big experience gap. I think he's holding his own very well. But we're not here to watch, the highest level games being cast. What I'm doing is analyzing choices that could have been made differently, or why choices were made. So let's take a look at the early sniper activity of this game, and let's watch how Drawn plays differently than what Smash did the previous game. Remember, the previous game, the Ambassador walked to the left, and Smash rotated around to the right, exposing the Ambassador. Let's see how Drawn does this. Now, he'll want to memorize the statues quickly, he'll want to keep his eye on the Ambassador, and he'll want to have probably his top priority will be to ensure there's no bug happens. His second priority is to remember statues on both sides, and his third priority should be to watch anybody who accepts or rejects a drink very, very quickly. So Drawn memorizes the statues. Makes the wrong decision to go around the other side. Checks these statues. And that ends up costing him quite a bit, because the bug does happen there. We see exactly the same mistake Smash made the previous game, except this time it has consequences. Now, if Drawn, let's watch from the start, and I'm going to play this game, and we'll see if I catch the bug. So where does Drawn start? He starts here. Now remember, Drawn goes to the left, the Ambassador goes slightly to the right. So memorize the statues. Bam, right there. You at least see some weird movement, you at least grab a highlight. And at this point, I've seen the statues on the other side, this side, I've seen the statues on this side, and may have missed somebody rejecting a drink. But overall, it's more important, I think, to guard the Ambassador, because you don't know if bug has been finished. If Purloin gets finished later, I can get some lowlights from it and recover. There's no recovering from bug being done, from bug being completed. So I think Drawn definitely makes a big error right at the very start by going the wrong way around if what he wants to do is track Ambassador. So yeah, and one thing I should note is that I'm not even able to actually see the bug when I play it that way, because I scoop around here to see the statues first. Well, I gotta go back in time, don't I? Because I scoop around here to see the statues first, and then I come around and I just barely catch some weird pathing. If I skip the statues and came around right away, I might see the bug. It's actually a pretty nice bug. It's hidden very well in the Ambassador, so you can't blame anybody for not catching it, but at the very least you can grab a highlight, and he doesn't. So going to continue on through here. The Spy makes kind of a strange decision here, and I'll say why I think it's kind of strange. Alright, so Seduction Target hits the window right here. Time is 2:34. We can actually get exact with this. Time is 2:34.4. And he immediately goes over to her. Actually, I take it back. That was not terrible timing. I don't think it's his fault that the Seduction Target left. I think if he had waited 2 or 3 more seconds in that conversation and then tried to follow her, that it would have been a poor effort. In this case, she had just arrived and he went to meet her fairly quickly. He arrives just a few seconds later, so she had a short window visit. Basically, you have like kind of a min-max value of how long they'll stay. They're either going to stay there the minimum amount of time, which is a handful of seconds, or the maximum amount of time, a handful of seconds plus 10 more seconds or something. But you never want to arrive at the point where the minimum value that they might stay is nearing its end. So if they're only going to arrive and stay at the window for 4 seconds, you don't want to get there at the 3rd second. You want to get there at the 1st second. And you do have more leniency than that, but early on when I was watching it, I thought he left to visit her a bit later than he should have. And in this case, I don't really think he did. I guess the one problem here is she arrives, he immediately goes after her, but he does have a lot of distance to cover, and the Spy is very, very slow in this game. So maybe that could have been handled differently. Early window flirts, probably not the best choice anyway. This gets him an early highlight. I mean, he got away with the bug, so what he doesn't want to do is get an early highlight. So probably still not a very good decision. Spends the rest of the game kind of just chasing around his Seduction Target, and eventually gets shot. Let's go to the end where he does get the green swap, which is, here he's very behind because he's spent literally the whole game chasing around his Seduction Target. But he does come over here, grabs the swap, gets a green, which is, it's impressive with the sniper's laser right on you. Finishes his specs. I think he finishes them, yeah, 0.8 seconds left. So just barely finishes that mission. Now, he cuts the animation, but it is safe to cut the animation at this point because Drawn is, on the other side of the map. Here's where Drawn is. At least from the sniper perspective, he knows that he can't see that. I wonder why the statue is invisible right now. It's kind of weird. So he can afford to skip that animation. That doesn't damage him at all. And then he leaves. Drawn, like I said, I think he makes kind of a weird decision here. The game is in countdown pending, which either looks like a time ad, like a green time ad right at 1 second remaining, or it looks like it's a green swap or green purloin. And Drawn, is already really suspicious of this character. He's going to die if overtime hits. But I think Drawn could have waited, because anytime the game goes into mission win, like countdown pending, you're going to get exactly 10 seconds of overtime. And I think he could have waited for the sound for overtime, just to confirm that it wasn't a green time ad from, another suspect or something. But that's really nitpicking. Drawn shot the right person at the right time. That's a legitimate win. That makes it sound as though the rest of Drawn's wins have not been legitimate. So what was that? That was a sniper win. And I think I'm going to do one more. Going to finish up these courtyard games and then close the stream. Again, if anybody has any questions or comments, then you can type them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them. Checker says that the number switch transparency bug is fixed. I can't say all of that makes much sense, but he's talking about the reason the statue is invisible. It's going to be fixed in the next patch. And Drawn actually has comments about that last game. He says he didn't think a purloined had hit, and it beckoned blue danger so quickly he felt it was best to shoot. Green time ad is a good reason, though. So yeah, Drawn pretty much knew it was a green swap. The character, the spy, left the statue right away, or left the statue, and blue danger came almost right away, and Drawn was certain it was a green swap. Like I said, I was just nitpicking. It's really fun to nitpick. Okay, so this game is the last game I'm going to do. Drawn Onward is the spy, Drawn Onward is general, and he's starting spawned inside the statue. He could just stay there all game and be almost invisible. No, not with this transparency. But look at that. Now it's the bottom side. That's cool. I can see all the statues. I really like that. Although it is kind of screwing with me. I'm going to reset this one. All right, so you've got Drawn as general here, and Smash is the sniper. Let's see what he does. Memorizes his statues early on. Here is just one of those bad draws where you end up on the opposite side of the ambassador. There is no correct path to take around the statue in that event. You just gotta, hope the bug didn't go off. There, Drawn actually tries to get a reverse walking bug. I think it was him just scrambling in an effort to grab it just in case, because they're really subtle. They're hard to see unless you're really watching for them. But in that case, you just got to get lucky, especially in Drawn's position. There, you just have to get lucky for that. Drawn enters, grabs his. He does have a purloined. He purloined. So that's really good. He's purloined. He got really far away from Toby, and he's getting a flirt. He's at 34%. With his hard tell done, I'd say Drawn's probably in good shape. Ooh. And he notices the purloin. If he noticed it right around the time that he started low-lighting people, then he noticed it very late. I'd say like a good 10 or 12 seconds too late. And he's low-lit the spy. I want to say he's probably not going to be able to recover from this. And so this game's going to be a really tough one for him. Oh, Drawn, bad pathing back into the conversation. Doesn't get him re-highlit. Grabs his banana bread.
Banana bread.
Red dress gets shot. Alright, so let's take a look at the beginning sniper play here. This is sort of, I guess, what you'd call the sniper opener. And it's different on every map. And I think that's part of what makes the maps, well, everything makes the maps exciting and different, but that's one of the really cool things about Courtyard is the fact that you always spawn in the same area, so you essentially can always, go with the same method But the characters spawn in different locations, and in some locations that they spawn are less ideal for the sniper or more ideal for the sniper. So game starts, characters start off just blocking the statues. That's really harsh. So you get the statues, and it takes, you know, an extra second. So that's 3-3. He grabs his highlight and comes around and sees the other statues 2-1. The statues have not been compromised this game. But let's take a look at what has been compromised this game. So this is a really rough place to open, with, you know, two characters blocking the statues, not being able to see them. So the game starts. He finally gets a view of the statues a good 3 seconds into the game. That's, you know, definitely not optimal. The ambassador starts on the opposite side of the map and stays there. So with the majority of the characters. So even if you're just playing this one from the replay, so I'm gonna play it, and all I'm going to do is try to rush over the ambassador. I think going to the left would be quicker, and see if I can get there before 50 people surround the ambassador. So, you know, orange dress couldn't have bugged. Well, orange dress is DA. Blondo couldn't have bugged. White danger couldn't have bugged. But plaid could have bugged. Red dress could have bugged, and even red plaid could have bugged. Just a really bad draw, and that's not counting, you know, this mess over here. But Let's take a look at what he does choose to do is actually kind of interesting as well. So he sees the statues, finally gets them, and now what he should do is go around to the other side of the map as soon as possible. But instead, he wastes an extra second. Well, not wastes, but takes an extra second to highlight brown dress. Now, brown dress just visited the statue. If he checks these statues and comes back around, he can still highlight her later. She's still going to be there. So it makes kind of a, I would say, probably not the most optimal the most optimal decision there, by lingering a little bit longer, but he does nonetheless. Now, what I would have preferred to do, even if I was going to play this like Smash and just sit and make sure I get that statue, come around here, finally see the statues 3-3, come around here, look at the statues 2-1, low light the ambassador, maybe highlight green dress, red dress, come back around. Brown dress is still here. I can highlight her now. And I think that would have probably been the better way to play it, because he would have had a little bit better coverage on the ambassador, a little bit better coverage on Toby, and he would have still gotten all the statues memorized. He would have still been able to highlight brown dress, and he would still know that she did not have time to swap it. Let's just for the, you know, sake of comedy, let's take a look at Drawn's bug here. So here's what Drawn does. He arrives in the conversation, immediately says, oh, I can, maybe if the ambassador decides to come around and go to the statues, which is pretty much the only place the ambo would go that Drawn would ever be in range for this. But he's just so late on it anyway, that no way are you going to get that Drawn. And it is visible from the sniper perspective, but in Smash's defense, this is something that's so hard to look for. And, you know, his mind is elsewhere. I think at this point he's just now getting his first view of the statues, so that's where his eyes are. Well, he's low-lighting Toby there. Still, it doesn't end up costing him, and the ambassador was never really in any danger from general character. Red dress was in a position to get a wrong arm bug, if we want to talk about that, and green plaid could have bugged at any point. So I think those two characters should have gotten. I would have highlighted them personally. Let's take a look at the purloin. Where was the sniper looking during purloin? So that happens here, and yeah. So waiter offers drink. Right in view of the sniper. He's over here. I mean, sometimes you just can't help that you're not looking where you need to look. You don't know which one's the spy. You have to divide your attention, and I understand that. So that's not really his fault. But then I think at this point, he notices the purloin a bit too late. So blue danger purloined. He hasn't highlight or low lit blue danger, so we know he did not see the animation. If he saw the animation, he'd low light blue danger. If he noticed the purloin when Toby was over in that area, he would have highlight blue danger. Now is where he notices the purloin. And now he starts highlighting people, or starts normalizing people. Note that the first thing he does is he normalizes the person who's nearby, who he just low lit. I'm interested why he low lit her anyway, but and maybe it's not. It's not important. Who cares? Point is that he sees she has a drink. She's near Toby. He normalizes her, and this is the exact moment that the game is lost, because then he highlights the people over here. Highlights Blue Danger. Probably a good choice because he did actually do the purloin. But then low lights the entire conversation, including the spy, and the game right there. Actually, no, the game is lost right. The game is lost right here. Right when he normal lights green dress, that's a split second after he saw the purloin. This is where Smash lost the game. And again, I mean, it's everybody makes mistakes, and you can't always point at any one moment where a player made a decision or noticed something too late and it lost them the game. This is one of those interesting examples where you can actually see the thought process that went into it, him scrambling to recover from it, and inevitably losing the game because of it. Usually games are won and lost more periodically, especially for the sniper. The sniper typically, the sniper loses slowly and periodically throughout the game. Usually the spy loses in a single moment. So this is one of those role reversal moments where the sniper lost in one deft moment. Let's go to the BB. Here, another one of those examples of a moment where, well, obviously there's not a whole lot for him to do. He's got most of the cast low lit and a few highlights, but you're going to see that the BB goes off. I think Buckswaggle is still out when the BB goes off, so let's see. Banana Bread hits here. No, he's actually in the conversation, but Purple Dress is out. And will he low light Purple Dress?
Red.
No, he immediately commits to the shot. So as Spy, you can see that if you're using interactive cam. So let's go back to when he Banana Breads. So let's go back to the beginning of Banana Bread. Banana Bread will happen. The laser, you'll see that the laser does not zip around at all. It just immediately knows what it wants to do. He commits to shooting. Does not low light before shooting. And that's not really something that I want to say is an analysis of players making decisions, but I want to say that's an analysis of what your expectations should be of a BB. You can look at the laser and say this is how the laser will behave in each situation. All right, so that is the whole set. Well, not the whole set. There are actually 10 more games. These are really interesting games, especially considering that they shouldn't, really be incredibly competitive games, considering the difference between the players. But I do think Smash plays pretty well in here. There are no really obvious pathing errors. I think the worst pathing in the game was on Drawn Onward's end, and he lost a game thinking that Smash's pathing would have been worse than it was. Players like to really, there was like a trend where people just complained about pathing for so long. It's not as deadly as it needs to be. It's not as deadly as people seem to make it out at that, what was it, like 3 or 4 months of it too. But yeah, I think looking at decision making and replays is a really interesting and kind of an entertaining way to do it. I didn't think that I'd be able to fill this much time just talking, but I think most of this was fairly interesting. It's really nice to look at other players and say these are the things that they've done, and these are things that maybe they'll look at this and maybe they'll try to analyze their play from replays and try to see where they can improve, and maybe they'll decide I was wrong on some of these things, maybe they'll decide I was right, and maybe it'll impact their play. I actually think I might do this again. So if anybody, I don't think I'm going to ask anybody to send me replays personally. I think what I'll do is I'll just, if I decide to do this again, I'm not making promises, I will probably just take replays that are packaged in groups. So if you just upload a set of 10 or 20 replays, mostly likely I'll get through 5 to 10 of them. If you just upload them as like a pack and I see them all together, I might just grab all of them and then and do this. Ideally, I'd like to do it with different players each time, and I'd probably want to focus more on the intermediate to advanced players, just because I don't think it would be so much fun, watching newbie players shooting AI for green swaps and stuff. Not that there isn't, value in using replays from newer players, but I think this sort of analysis is probably better served on more advanced players. So yeah, anyway, if anybody has any questions, I'll keep the stream open for a handful more minutes, although I'll probably spend that time typing in my answers since there's such a delay on the chat. And yeah, I'll wait a little while. But overall, yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and I hope it was enjoyable. I think people seem to like this one, so I enjoyed doing it as well. It's funny, I was actually kind of nervous going into it, thinking, man, I can't shoutcast games, and it turned out that's not what I had to do. So yeah, it's not what ended up happening, and I think it was pretty different. Um, I know I stole Tobo's time slot, and I didn't really realize that I was doing it until after I did it. He, I mean, I guess I just got really lucky that he canceled. So I probably got a few of his viewers here, which is, cool. I'm glad that it worked out. I would like Tobo to come back, and he's been gone for so long, and just seems like nothing can go right for him. So I really hope he comes back and starts shoutcasting these replays. Anyway, so I'm going to close the stream now. You can follow me at you can follow this page, twitch.tv/kcmmmmm. You can follow me on Twitter at kcmmmmm. So those are your options if you want to watch me. I think I might upload this one on YouTube. My YouTube channel, it has the same name. I'm not going to say it again. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.